James Andrew Jim Miller is an American mixed martial artist. He is currently a competitor in the UFC's lightweight division. He is the younger brother of fellow UFC fighter Dan Miller. As of March 27, 2015, he is number 12 in official UFC lightweight rankings. Background: born and raised in Sparta Township, New Jersey and the youngest of three brothers, Miller began training in Taekwondo at the age of 8 and then received his black belt at the age of 10. Miller then competed in wrestling in high school at Sparta High School, as well as 1 year of collegiate wrestling at Virginia Tech. Miller had not originally planned on wrestling at Virginia Tech, but his desire to compete again grew and he made the team as a walk-on later into the season. However, Miller did not continue competing for the school because of disagreements with the coaching staff and the program. He currently holds a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Jamie Cruz. Miller began training in mixed martial arts in 2005, when he began training at Planet Jiu-Jitsu in Sparta, New Jersey with his brother Dan Miller. Mixed martial arts career. Early career. Miller had his first professional fight on November 19, 2005 against Eddie Fivey at Reality Fighting 10. Miller controlled the fight and earned a unanimous decision. Miller earned 2 more victories in the promotion over Kevin Roddy and Joe Onduja, both via first-round submission. The quick victories earned Miller a title shot and he fought Musin Corbry for the Reality Fighting Lightweight Championship. Miller mounted Corbry in the second round and battered his opponent before securing an armbar for the victory. In his first title defense, Miller took on future UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar at Reality Fighting 14. Edgar controlled the fight, but Miller secured a tight guillotine late in the final round. Edgar fought through the choke to earn the unanimous decision. In the weeks prior to Reality Fighting 14, Planet Jiu-Jitsu closed down. Miller began training at AMA Fight Club in Whippany, New Jersey with his brother Dan in January 2007. Miller debuted with the Cage Fury Fighting Championships in a lightweight championship bout on April 13, 2007 against Evo Fight Club's Al Buck. Jim fought on the same card as his brother for the first time since Reality Fighting 12 and both were victorious. Miller and Buck squared off, but were forced to separate early after an accidental knee to Buck's groin. When the fight resumed, Miller began working for a takedown and after escaping an attempted guillotine, secured a slam, from which he quickly attained the mount and then the back, sinking in a rear naked choke for the win. Miller defended his title for the first time at Cage Fury Fighting Championships 5 against Atlantic City MMA's Anthony Morrison. Morrison delivered some big slams early, but Miller worked through a chain of submissions before securing the victory by triangle choke at 4:56 of the first round to retain his title. Miller's second defense was scheduled for the Cage Fury Fighting Championships 6 card, where he was to face King of the Cage champion Clay French, but the event was cancelled a week prior to the event, when a primary investor dropped out. Ultimate Fighting Championship Jim and his brother Dan signed with the UFC in July 2008. Miller made his debut at UFC 89 where he defeated David Barron via rear naked choke submission in the third round. Miller next acted as a late replacement for Frankie Edgar against Matt Wiman at UFC Fight for the Troops. Miller dominated Wiman for 3 rounds, winning via unanimous decision. At UFC 100, Miller won a bloody one-sided unanimous decision over TUF winner Mac Danzig. Miller was scheduled to face Thiago Tavares on September 19, 2009 at UFC 103, but Tavares was forced to drop out due to a knee injury suffered while training. UFC newcomer Steve Lopez stepped in to replace Tavares. Both fighters exchanged competitively on the feet, but Miller won after Lopez injured his shoulder in round 2. Miller was expected to face Tyson Griffin on January 2, 2010 at UFC 108, but an injury forced Griffin off the card. Sean Sherk agreed to step up from the undercard and fight Miller, rather than his original opponent in Rafaelo Oliveira. However, Sherk pulled out of the fight because of a cut that required many stitches. Returning veteran Dwayne Ludwig was named as Sherk's replacement. Miller looked comfortable and sharp on his feet, exchanging with the seasoned striker in Ludwig, and scored a knockdown halfway through the round with a fast combination. Miller swarmed to secure an armor, winning by submission at 2:31 of the first round. Miller faced Mark Bock on March 27, 2010 at UFC 111. After 3 closely contested rounds, Miller was awarded the unanimous decision win. Miller fought Gleison Tibau at UFC Fight Night 22, winning via unanimous decision. Miller was able to use his improved footwork to outstrike Tibau and stuff most of his takedowns. Miller faced highly touted prospect Charles Oliveira on December 11, 2010 at UFC 124. Miller defeated Oliveira via a first-round knockout to extend his winning streak to 6 and earning the submission of the night bonus. Miller defeated WEC import, Kamil Shalorus on March 19, 2011 at UFC 128. Miller won the fight via TKO in the third round, after landing an uppercut and knee to Shalorus's face. Miller faced Benson Henderson on August 14, 2011 at UFC on vs. 5. He lost the fight by a unanimous decision. He later revealed that he was battling kidney infection and mononucleosis when cutting weight for the fight. On January 20, 2012 he faced Melvin Guillard at UFC on FX1. After being rocked early by a knee and punches from Guillard in the first round, Miller was able to get the fight to the ground and submit Guillard with a rear naked choke. Miller next faced Nate Diaz on May 5, 2012 in the main event on UFC on Fox, Diaz vs. Miller. He lost the fight via submission, for the first time in his professional career, in the second round due to a guillotine choke. Miller faced Joe Lawson on December 29, 2012 at UFC 155, replacing an injured Gray Maynard. He won the fight via unanimous decision, with the performance earning both participants Fight of the Night honors. The win also gave Miller the most all-time wins in UFC lightweight history. Miller faced Pat Healy on April 27, 2013 at UFC 159. He lost the back-and-forth fight by submission in the third round. Despite the loss, the bout earned Miller his third, and second consecutive, Fight of the Night bonus. Healy, however, subsequently tested positive for marijuana and the result of the fight was overturned to a no contest. Miller faced Fabricio Kama Micrones at UFC 168 in Las Vegas, Nevada on December 28, 2013. Miller locked in an armor for the submission victory at 3:42 of the first round. Miller was expected to face Bobby Green on April 26, 2014 at UFC 172. However, in the week leading up to the event, Green pulled out of the bout citing an injury and was replaced by Yancy Medeiros. Miller won the fight via submission in the first round. Miller faced Donald Cerrone on July 16, 2014 at UFC Fight Night 45. After a back-and-forth first round, Miller was defeated via second-round knockout. Miller was expected to face Paul Felder on April 18, 2015 at UFC on Fox 15. However, Felder was forced to pull out of the event due to a knee injury and was replaced by Beneil Dariush. Miller lost the fight by unanimous decision. Miller faced Danny Castillo on July 25, 2015 at UFC on Fox 16, replacing Rustam Khabilov, who was pulled from the card with alleged visa issues. He won the fight by split decision. Miller is expected to face Michael Chiesa on December 10, 2015 at UFC Fight Night 80. Personal life: Jim was married in 2008. The couple has 2 children, their first child born in June 2010. Prior to their careers in mixed martial arts, Jim and his brother Dan worked in construction with their father. Championships and accomplishments = Mixed martial arts = Ultimate Fighting Championship, Fight of the Night, Submission of the Night, Fight of the Year vs. Joe Lawson. United States Kickboxing Association, USKBA Welterweight Championship. Cage Fury Fighting Championships, Cage Fury Fighting Championships Lightweight Championship, 1 successful title defense. Reality Fighting Lightweight Championship. Sherdog, 2012 All Violence First Team. Mixed Martial Arts Record. See also List of current UFC fighters, list of male mixed martial artists. References. External links, official UFC profile, official website, Jim Miller on Twitter, professional MMA record for Jim Miller from Sherdog, Jim Miller infographic.